supposed to. These
Stop
should
questioning.
all be question marks.
don't question my methods when I send you notes and stuff. You just sit there, you take it, you accept it. Whatever it is, you enjoy it, accept it, and then move on with your life. Because I feel like that's best for your health.
Yes, I agree.
And you know what else is best for our health?
What?
A heavy dose of nerd word.
Nerd
what
word.
is happening,
Hey.
ladies and gentlemen?
What's
Welcome,
up?
welcome to another episode of Nerd Word, where the word is nerd. I am HaplessLuckett.
I am Guymanbrodawg.
And you know what? I actually wore this to represent I am the fireball.
Really? Yes.
Dude,
me,
you
baby.
actually do look like a fireball right now.
You
Like,
kinda
your
do.
head, it's definitely looking fireballish.
Matching the theme.
Wow.
Except for that ugly ass green sweater. Like that throws off
It's
the
cold
entire...
out and I love my
I don't
hoodie.
know,
Don't
man.
judge.
I don't know, man. Fireball with khakis?
I'm a khaki kind of guy. What are you going to do, you know?
I'm just playing.
But anyway, how was everybody's weekend?
My weekend, it could have gone better, but, you know, I'm hanging in there.
All right,
We're all
first
good.
of all, hold on. It still says we're playing Shadow Warrior, but you saw me change that. Y'all saw me type that up.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened and why it says we're playing that, because we're most certainly not playing that. This is supposed to be podcast.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, for some odd reason, and it won't let me change it.
This is interesting.
Like,
I am interest.
You are
I am
interested.
also interest.
I don't understand why, because now I am very confused.
They did him a heckin' corn fuse.
What?
What in the flipping Steen McDougal fuck? Yeah. But anyway, I guess we'll figure this. I'll figure this part out. But yeah, as I was saying, how was everybody's weekend? What about you, guy man?
You know, I'm good. I'm good. It was a pretty decent weekend. I mean, some things happened that kind of set me back a little bit, but I'm working through it. You know.
Yeah. Fireball.
Can't say it was bad. Same things that set him back, you know, were a little bit on my plate too. But we got through it. We're getting through it. Making life happen.
Well, it is good that you guys are getting through it. And I'm glad you guys are here.
Glad to
Thank
be
you.
here.
Thank you.
And-
I'm glad to be here too.
It seems that I am able to fix this.
Oh, cool.
So what was the title of our thing again?
It was. It's about to get loony.
Saturday tunes.
Yeah,
It's about to
it-
get loony.
yeah.
You're one of those.
So yeah, first of all, yeah, I do want to apologize for the technical difficulties because I don't know what happened.
It's okay. I'll entertain them with my ASMR knuckle pops.
You got to get real up into the mic.
All right, guys. You ready
No,
for that?
when you crack the knuckles, you got to be close.
Well, I'm getting them ready for the knuckle crack by whatever.
Look, it doesn't matter. It's been changed. It has been fixed.
All is well.
So
Actually, no, I lied.
it's not fixed.
It's not. I'm just gonna call it Nerd Word Episode 3 on here because there we go. Now it has been fixed.
Okay.
So okay. Sorry about the technical difficulty. Computers suck. I hate it. I hate everything about it. So, I've been reading some comic books, and we got some comic book movies just come out. We got Doctor Strange coming out.
The Batman just came out.
released.
Which
yeah.
was great.
We're
Go
gonna
see
get-
it.
Morbius.
Morbius is coming out soon.
Mm-hmm.
So, there are speculations that people obviously have their opinions on that, at least this is my opinion, Marvel has better movies, DC has better comics. What do you guys think? Like, as far as comic books, who has the better stories overall?
It's interesting.
That is tough. I mean, it's such a close bout. Like, that's the reason that Marvel versus DC is still a discussion today, is because you
Yeah.
can never really land on one. But I mean, they both have really compelling stories, but for different reasons, you know, like, we get the lighthearted side of things with Marvel, but then the darker, grittier stories that we like with DC, so we're getting our fill.
Yeah.
But it's really down to what do you like more, you know? So you can't really say for sure which one is better. It's just really what you're into.
Well, the question wasn't. Well, I guess it is. I guess it was a question which is better. But in your opinion, which one's better? Which one has a better story in your opinion? Like if you had to pick one.
Are we talking like who has better stories in the comics?
Yes.
And then also who has better stories in the movies?
No, movies are out the gate. These are all just the
Gotcha.
comics. Yes.
Oof.
It's tough, isn't it? It's really tough.
I think I've found myself enjoying more of DC's stories because I'm so attached to like the Robins and the Nightwings and like Teen Titans side of DC, really the Batman side of DC, and those have been some of my favorite stories, and so I think DC might have the better comics, and Marvel probably has the better movies.
So we're both in agreement on that.
Yeah.
And
mine's a simple answer.
What was that?
It's very simple. I'm more into DC only because, like Julian said, you know, Marvel and DC both bring something different to the table, which is amazing, and I love that we have the option of both. I wouldn't have it any other way. I think one can't make it without the other. They need one another. But DC has always captured me with their stories more so because they are more, to me at least, grounded in reality. Like, yeah, they're over the top. You got a god from another planet that has superhuman powers. Yeah, I get all that. But it still seems to be grounded in a more reality. They're not always in space and fighting aliens and cosmic threats. They're more grounded in the sense that a lot more of their characters fight street-level thugs and people that we would deal with on a daily basis. Okay. And it's grounded more in reality in that sense. So for me, DC has always been the better stories.
See, I can kind of see that, but I don't know. It's always been different because there's also a lot of over-the-top issues that they've had to deal with in, like, you know, Justice, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
the
there's the
Justice League.
Deceased line, like, that was pretty much the end of the world. Anything dealing with Darkseid is, like, over the top for real.
Yeah.
Like
Green Lantern.
Green Lantern, too, yeah. There are a lot of...
It's not to say it doesn't have its over-the-top story.
But yeah,
right.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, Marvel's kind of flooded with them.
Yeah.
DC sort of has their, like, select few characters who get to step into that territory.
Right.
Yeah, and I guess as far as that goes, I can see what you're saying because a lot of characters do go between back and forth. I think Cyclops was a leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy at one point, or at least a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So they do cross a lot, and I think Marvel does do a lot more over the top stuff. Not to say that DC doesn't go over the top.
Right.
Again, we've named off a couple of the over the top characters and over the top storylines, but I do feel like Batman's, like, if you were to pick one that was a little bit more believable than the others, it would probably be DC.
Yeah, that's my thoughts exactly.
Yeah, but as far as movies, I think we can all agree that MCU just owns.
That can be proved in the numbers.
Yeah.
And the way they weave everything together, it's really impressive. And like, DC is catching up, though, I will say. They are kind of getting on that same track, but they're not going to have a No Way Home. You know, they're not going to have, like, an end game. Yeah. They're doing their own thing at their own pace.
Which is
Marvel
good.
is just leagues above them doing the same thing.
Because they've been doing it for so long, and still doing it, especially with the release of Doctor Strange coming out soon.
And we found out, too, that the next show after Moon Knight is definitely Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
That's the one that's next.
And that is going to tie in with the Marvels.
It's gonna obviously keep expanding.
Yeah.
You know, what more?
Yeah, because there's a lot of main characters that haven't been touched, like, you know, X-Men, which Fantastic I hear that Four. There is supposed to be some variant of Wolverine. There's another rumor, another variant
I've heard that.
of Wolverine. Yeah, supposed to show up in Doctor Strange. There are so many more.
A lot of people are.
There's a lot of rumors, and I can understand. I can see that happening. Like honestly, I can see Doctor Strange. It's just the multiverse of madness, so I can see him bouncing around different multiverses.
Professor X confirmed.
But the thing is, when they say when these so-called rumors show up, I feel like a lot of them may be just like quick cameos. Like as he's passing through the one dimension, you'll see, oh my God, was that the X-Men?
Maybe.
So that's where all these speculations I feel like can come in.
And that could be dope too to see all that.
That would be pretty cool. Amazing. So that gives us hope that we could potentially see these characters in the future, even though they really won't have anything to do with the actual movies. I think, except for of course Professor X, who's obviously going to have a big part. But
and you got to think too, like how is Marvel going to keep going bigger? Like in No Way Home, they gave us all 3 Spider-Man.
Yeah.
How do they go bigger than that? Give us a bunch more characters that we've already had and loved, and put them all in the mix.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only way they can go bigger.
And the only way actually they can go bigger is bring them all back, but not like those specific ones that we already know, you know, bringing back Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider. We don't need to do that, but you can introduce Ghost Rider. Mm-hmm. You can introduce the Fantastic Four, and you can make them somehow parallel to what they're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
because obviously I feel like if there is a multiverse, the MCU has already declared that there is a multiverse. There's a version of each person in each universe. So therefore, somewhere in Toby's universe, there's probably Avengers, West Coast Avengers,
maybe,
which happens in California. Same thing with Andrew Garfield. So there's ways that things can happen, like seeing the Fantastic Four in another universe that shows, okay, the MCU version has to be there somewhere because these other characters actually exist inside the MCU's continuity.
Legit.
Yeah.
So that could be something to look forward to. Even if it's just very brief, it just lets us know that, hey, these characters are coming.
That's so exciting.
Still fan service, and I'll take it.
I will absolutely take it. Speaking of fan service and old school characters, who remembers the Big Bad Beetleborgs?
Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Oh, you mean the only VHS tape I've ever popped in a player before? Like, we owned how many of those?
Like all of them. And
then we also had a babysitter back in the day who had them all too. So we've always watched them.
So you actually know them.
Yes, I do know the Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Because that was literally before you were swimming around in your So that's interesting. How much of the Beetleborgs do you remember?
I don't remember any of the names.
I don't either.
I don't really remember like even the colors of the costumes. I remember the goofy Elvis-looking ghost dude, and he was my favorite because he was goofy. And I remember, I think there were 3 of them.
Yes, there were 3.
That's really all I remember, but I do remember
there
being
was
a
white
fantastic
one,
show.
And his name was Josh.
Was that?
Really?
Okay.
I'm fairly certain there was a white one in his. I'm gonna fact check that, but I'm fairly certain one of them's name was Josh.
Because I do remember there was 3, and I very vaguely remember that there were some ones that popped in and out. I think the colors were green, blue, and red. I have a laptop right.
Let's look. It's fun to try to guess first.
It is. Big Bad Beetleborgs. Oh my glorp norps. That is so long ago. What they actually had they had 88 episodes in 2 seasons. So
wow.
So what, they had 44 episodes in a season?
I guess so.
1996.
Wait, it was 96?
1996.
Oh man, I was 16 when those
The
guys
white
came
one, his name was Josh Baldwin.
Oh my god.
And he was the white Beetleborg.
Oh my Lanta.
Yes. He looks like a freaking like rhino beetle.
I think those things are a thing though. Red was the other. No, there
I
were
see yellow and black. There's other iterations.
there's other colors. I remember a purple one coming in. There's an orange one. So
And
you
the
want
Elvis dude was Flabber. It says it right there.
and he had the chin of
Jay Leno.
Jay Leno.
Yeah.
Wow, Jesus! And of course, we obviously remember the famous theme song, "Big Bad Beetleborgs, Big Bad Beetleborgs." I completely forgot that there were more of them. I do remember the 3 for sure.
So it looks like blue, silver, and red in this.
I think that's blue, green,
Might be
and
green.
red. Yeah, because I can't remember if because there's the toys, blue, green, and red.
These are the ones I remember.
Yeah.
Yep, blue, green, red.
Those are definitely the ones
Yep.
I remember. And what's funny is they're both. It's Saban.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
Saban's
it's
Big
Power
Bad
Rangers
Beetleborg, and they literally ripped off the Power Rangers with their own shit.
But yeah, I mean,
they literally tried to ride their own wavy train. Okay, we got the Power Rangers out. Let's come up with something that's similar to the Power Rangers and try to make money off of that.
I mean, it worked.
do you think people
For 2 seasons.
Do you think people generally enjoy Beetleborgs more than Power Rangers, or
No.
vice versa?
Power
No.
Rangers are way more popular, way more enjoyable.
Why do you think that is? They
It
don't
was
differ
first.
very much.
Yeah, and it was first, and that's why it's the original.
Technically, it was second.
Power Rangers came out first.
Well, between those two, yes. But Power Rangers actually wasn't the original Power Rangers. It was a Japanese show. It was a Japanese show that was really similar to Power Rangers, and in America ripped it off and made it their own. I can't remember the name of it. Let's see, because I do remember that it was very, very similar, and like the costumes were even damn near the same. But I can't remember what they were called. They were the Super Sentai. That's what it was called, the Super Sentai. Or no, wait, no. Was it? Or that might be the newer version.
I've never heard of this.
Me either.
It's very it's very old. And I'm telling you, yep, there it is. It is. Super Sentai is the original Japanese version of the Power Rangers. So that came out before the Power Rangers, and the Power Rangers made it their own thing.
Gotcha.
So so technically Power Rangers was second. It's just it took America to, make it quote unquote good and watchable.
Wow.
It was a total ripoff.
Yeah, absolutely. It had capes.
What?
And they honestly kind of look like, as far as the helmets kind of look like the Zeo Power Rangers.
Yeah, a little bit.
Which is insane.
That's interesting.
And there's a whole slew of them.
Yeah, they got about 57 spin-offs like our version too. Look at them. That's almost exactly what
It
we got.
is. So
Wow.
somebody definitely went through and watched all of Japanese. Okay, and they were just like, you
these
know
are
what?
100% ripped off.
Wow.
Weird.
They're not even similar. They're the same thing.
And this actually is. They even have the poses too, like the over the top poses.
Mm-hmm.
They had those. So that's insane that the Power Rangers. Obviously, that's Zeo.
Yeah.
That is Zeo 100%. The Hikari Sentai Maskmen.
From 87 to 88.
And they actually have like the helmets.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is a hawk.
That was pretty cool looking.
And
though.
that's Turbo. Okay, so look, here it is. In 1989, 1990 is Sentai Turbo Rangers. So the
Yeah.
Turbo Power Rangers. And they look literally just like the Turbo Power Rangers
Wow.
from the original.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
All these spin-offs just look like continued spin-offs of what we've got.
Absolutely. And it is so crazy. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers too, because there's the actual White Rangers.
By the way, fun fact.
Fact.
If you're a Power Rangers fan like I am, Rita Repulsa was never an American actor. those were her scenes filmed in the Japanese or whatever versions of these, and they were just taken directly and put into ours. That's why her mouth never matched the words that she was saying.
Really? What?
Right.
Oh my god, because that's her right
That's her.
there.
That's actually
and
her.
she's from the Kiro Ryu Sentai Zero Rangers. Zeo Rangers.
Zeo Ranger.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1.
92 to 93.
And that was before...
That was before we got them, so they just ripped off those scenes, put
Wow.
them directly in the show.
So that makes sense why the White Ranger from 1993 to 1994 from the Sentai Dia Rangers, the White Ranger is
Identical.
It's
our White Ranger.
That is the White Ranger that we know and love, and those are the Ninja Rangers.
Yep.
Wow,
That's a lot of Rangers, dude.
That's ours. That's ours.
Yeah,
that's the Zeo
definitely
Rangers.
ours.
Okay, so the names. Oh, okay. So these are actually the real ones then. So when they changed it to the Power Rangers, okay, that makes sense. But still, the Rita Repulsa one blows my mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Blows my bloody flipping mind. 'Cause I did not know that. I need to look up some more of these traumatizing 90s Power Rangers things that I don't know that I probably would never know. That's insane. So Saban ripped off. Actually, you know what? Isn't Saban Japanese anyway?
I don't know.
So
Never looked enough into it to find out.
I'm curious. Hayam Saban?
I think it's Haim.
Hayim Saban. So because if he had the original Power Rangers, then he didn't rip off shit.
Yeah, it's just his.
So, they had an animated series, foreign television series. So, that is where I need to see. It doesn't look like he doesn't have the Power Rangers. His version of the Power Rangers. So he might have actually just was like, you know what? I like them. Let me get them. Yeah, let me get them from Japan. Yep, because here he goes, 1993. So they must have taken it, either bought the rights or taken the rights.
Something, yeah.
And then created the Power Rangers.
Wow.
And then took the Power Rangers and was like, you know what? I'm tired of making different variations of the Power Rangers. Let's make a whole new show. Like the Power Rangers. What are we going to call them, boss?
Big Bad Beetleborgs.
I love the idea. We're going to make it. This is now our show, and everyone who's watched it was like, NANI?
That's funny.
Because it only, granted, it did have 88 episodes, which I don't understand how you have 88 episodes in 2 seasons.
44 per season.
That's
That's a lot.
a lot of episodes.
That is a lot of flipping episodes. How could you sit there and watch that many? I couldn't. My brain would just melt.
Not if you watch it every day for like a month and a half. That's it. If it comes on 5 days a week for like a month and a half, it's over.
I couldn't. No.
Like every day after school.
No.
Probably what he was shooting for.
Well, the thing is, who would want to do that to themselves?
Kids.
Yeah.
Apparently
After
not.
school.
Apparently not, because
They only got 2 seasons.
yeah, and Power Rangers is on their 856th.
Spin off.
Yeah.
Completely different shows.
No, actually, they have gone so full circle that they're back to rebooting the old ones.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
No way. Oh my god.
I'm pretty sure that they're trying to reboot the Power Ranger movie again because the last one was a big duty fest.
Doo-doo fast.
Like, it was cool as an original, but, like, it was cool. It would have been cool if that was just a part 1 of a trilogy.
I never saw it.
You get Power Rangers for literally 10 minutes, and that 10 minutes is at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And not only do you get the Power Rangers in the last 10, not only do you get the Power Rangers, you also get the Zords and the Megazord. Yeah. All within 10 minutes. 10, 15, 20 minutes, something like that.
Everything before that is a high school drama.
Jeez,
100%. So if they were to play in the trilogy, then Power Ranger 2 would be great.
Yeah. Power Rangers 2, now that the story's been established, would be fantastic. But they did away with it. They're not doing it.
Yeah. And yes, I do have it. Like, it's cool. Like, it's okay. It's not like
it's one watch.
It's not like it's a bad movie. It's just like it turned out to be a bad movie because there's no follow-up sequel.
Right.
It's like Captain America. If you just got Captain America: The First Avenger and had no Captain America: The Winter Soldier, it'd just be a shit movie. That's my opinion. Don't come from my neck.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with that. I still thought it was good, but I get what you're saying.
But speaking of 90s stuff like the Power Rangers and the Big Bad Beetleborgs, you may be too young to know a lot of them, but I'm pretty sure that you can.
I raised him right. He'll know some.
Okay. 90s cartoons. Who had the best? Now, you know the Disney Channel had them cartoons, Darkwing Duck and all that.
Darkwing
Was that the time of, like, Proud Family and stuff like that?
I think Proud Family was early 2000s.
Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
I'm thinking early 90s more or less. But
yeah, I'm thinking Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, Darkwing and Tailspin.
Tailspin, Chip and Dale.
Bonkers.
They're bonkers.
All those were Disney Channel's 90s lineup.
And
Fantastic.
then you also had Nickelodeon with Rugrats, Doug,
Rocket
Power, Hey Arnold, Cat Dog. Like they had a lineup.
Some heavy hitters there.
They had some heavy
Let's
hitters.
not forget
Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, well, Ren and Stimpy ended up going to MTV.
Really?
At some point.
Yeah,
yes.
at some point they did.
But don't
SpongeBob.
forget Cartoon Network slamming
and
in
then
the 90s.
Cartoon Network, yeah.
Dexter's Lab, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Johnny Bravo,
Cow and
Eddie, Cow and Chicken.
Cow and Chicken was awesome.
There were so many good cartoons in the 90s. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really was.
Was that Powerpuff Girls as well?
Yes.
Powerpuff Girls.
Part of that Cartoon Network.
I very much enjoyed Powerpuff Girls.
And that was so awesome during those times because those cartoons were hits. Like you literally had a hard time choosing where you had to math it out perfectly. Like if Rugrats is on at like 9:30 and then Courage comes on at 10, you had to map it out perfectly which one. Sometimes you had to sacrifice. Like, do I want to watch Doug or do I want to watch Cow and Chicken?
Well, that was a you guys problem.
Yeah, you can't
really have to deal with that at all. Everything's
just
streamed
been
now.
Stuff.
You just watch what you want. But yeah, we actually had it on a schedule we had to catch. And
I mean, there were like always reruns and stuff growing up. Like it was never like you had the Boomerang channel and stuff showing all that. So I was watching them as I grew up, but like now that I have access to everything, I can just watch it whenever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is lucky for you.
It's a nice luxury for you.
It is,
but it's also hindering too, because we got to see these because we anticipated them. We were excited for them. We had to wait to catch them when they came out and watch them. And it made it more exciting and made you appreciate and love those shows more.
It did.
Now when it's like, oh, I think I'm going to watch this, and there it is, right when you want it, anytime, right away. It's too easy. You don't appreciate those shows then because it's like, I can watch it whenever I want.
And sometimes you don't even watch it. Sometimes it's like on the background while you're folding clothes.
Yeah, while you're doing other shit.
Or shit, even going to bed. I watch TV as I'm going to sleep. I'm one of the few who I can't.
I do too. I sleep with the TV on.
Yeah, I definitely do. And it's not because I'm afraid of the dark. It's because I'm afraid of what's inside the dark that I'm alone with.
Silence?
That's
monster. Actually what I'm afraid of. The silence makes my brain go... my brain goes too crazy when there's nothing to distract it, so...
I mean, there's actually stuff pondering on your noodles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have stuff? It's not hollow?
No.
Oh.
Not all the way.
Not all... Okay, cool.
I mean, there are pockets that I wish were filled in, but,
But out of the lineup, like if you had, and even this includes you, if you only had to take one, if you had to take that I'm already gonna say off the top of my head that compared to Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, Disney's out.
Yeah, Disney's out.
That's just me.
No, that's not just you.
Disney had some good ones.
It did.
Not to discredit them.
It's not. Yeah, it's definitely not. But when you compare that to Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, the channels that made the cartoons and some of the cartoons that are still going today, like what would you take? Like what would you completely get rid of?
Well, it'd be easier to answer which one I would just keep and get rid of the rest. But
no, you have one of the two stations. You have to get rid of Nickelodeon or you have to get rid of Cartoon Network. You can't pick and choose your cartoons.
Oh, yeah, I get you. Well,
yeah, it's tough, ain't it?
I'm gonna have to say I'd get rid of Nickelodeon. Only Only because, I mean, you made it a tough choice. I didn't want to get rid of Nickelodeon. But I only want to get rid of Nickelodeon simply because I did watch more Cartoon Network. Yeah. And also, I remember very fondly, it was probably about 95, 96. I was probably 15, 16 years old. Cartoon Network.
Fucking dinosaur.
Right? When the internet was like first released to the public. We had that CartoonNetwork.com had this thing where you could go in, you do these little activities, and you collected stickers, which were your favorite cartoon characters, every one on the channel. And I remember having this little thing with all these stickers everywhere, and I was so proud of it. And I loved it, and those characters stood out to me as more important because I interacted with those characters versus just watching them on the channel. So, but Cartoon Network to me had, I think it just had a few more better shows.
Really?
Just a few more.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I would get rid of Nick.
Really?
What? I'm Xing out Nick because...
What?
I mean, Cartoon Network, obviously heavy hitters, man. Like,
yes.
I loved Ed, Edd and Eddy and
yes.
like, Courage and all those. Like, those shows were amazing. There weren't many Nickelodeon shows that I found myself, like, actually wanting to watch. Like, go out of my way to watch.
Oh,
you know? Like,
wow.
But Nick is just... It's gone. That's it. Like, I still really like Cartoon Network to this day. Like, they have good modern shows too, like Teen Titans Go and stuff like that.
Amazing World of Gumball.
Yeah, Gumball. The only thing Nick still really has going for it is SpongeBob and maybe the Loud House.
Rugrats. They brought Rugrats back.
Yeah, it's digital
That's on
now.
Paramount Plus.
But Paramount owns Nickelodeon.
It's not the same. Like, that's not...
This is true.
Nobody's, running back to Nick because, oh my god, Rugrats.
Right.
Okay. I'd have to make the argument that y'all... I respect both of you guys' decisions, but you're both wrong.
I mean, I know your favorite game is a Rugrats game anyway.
No, we're not going to talk about that Nickelodeon, that bullshit. If you guys don't remember that story, you might have to go back a couple podcasts to hear about the
great story
N64 travesty. But either way, Nickelodeon, no, I'd have to still say it's Nick. It's Nick between the two of them, and the reason why it's Nickelodeon is because Nickelodeon still exists.
Cartoon Network definitely still
exists.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
What are you talking about?
It's adult cartoons now. That's what it's called.
No, but they do have Adult Swim as well, which gives them another leg up.
You know what? Screw you, because the reason I say that is because there are still shows, like you even mentioned, SpongeBob, that's still a thing. There is not a Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network show that still exists from that time period. They all are gone. At least they're still bringing back Rugrats, even though it's gone, they're bringing it back. They still have SpongeBob. I think SpongeBob just ended recently, and that's what, 15-something years, 10 years, however long. And I think Nickelodeon's shows lasted longer. Like, they had longer longevity.
Yeah, they did have longer running shows.
As far as, like, granted, again, I'm not saying it's not to discredit Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network always comes up with new material. So they just, like, take stuff in and it's gone. Because, except for, like, Gumball and stuff, like, the newer shows, the new modern, they're still around. But, like, the older shows,
great.
I love Gumball. I'm not a big fan of Adventure Time, though.
Me either. I'm actually finally glad to hear someone agree with me on that.
What about
Adventure
regular
Time was
show?
never. I like regular.
I love regular show,
but I don't care for Adventure Time. I never did. It was just never my thing.
I don't know why either. It was quirky. It was goofy. It seemed like it would be something that's right up my speed because all my other friends like it. But I'm just like,
right.
Well, what?
I could watch it and not hate life, but I don't want to watch it.
I like Adventure Time. I like a lot of Cartoon Network shows.
Yeah.
And like the reason Nick has to go is because Cartoon Network can afford to just keep coming up with new stuff to keep them relevant. They don't have to rely on things from the past that people get nostalgic about like Nickelodeon does. Without those things coming back, new Nickelodeon shows are just getting worse. I know it's hard to hear.
It is. It's hard to hear and it's hard to agree that you are correct about that because I can at least name 3 or 4 new Cartoon Network shows. I can't name a single one on Nickelodeon that's not SpongeBob.
The Patrick Star Show.
What?
Which is gonna
He
be
has his
flop.
own show. It's already out. It's been going.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, it's a Patrick Star Show. It's just Patrick and this other little squid chick.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
To keep things relevant, to keep themselves relevant, they have to spin off of another show or bring something back. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay, well, it's a good thing that I'm not talking about current cartoons because I'm
Yeah.
still talking about 90s, and
Yeah,
as far
true,
as the
true,
90s,
true.
Nickelodeon slapped. So.
Yeah, okay, that's a fair
But that's
point.
interesting.
But
Let's
they
hear what
lost
any
touch.
of you guys have to say about that. I want to know your opinions.
Yeah, we would definitely want to know you guys' opinions. You can message us on wherever. Send us a like on the YouTube channel.
We check
I'm on
comments.
the grams.
Yes, actually, Will. That's also a little bit of news. Nerd Word within the next couple of weeks will get its own YouTube. It already has its own Instagram. I haven't done anything with it yet, but it's going to get its own YouTube channel, and it's going to get its own Twitch. So that way they won't be ciphering off of my teat. But as far as that goes, I do want to know one thing. But first, it is time for the pop quiz.
Pop quiz.
Pop quiz. We
I'm
haven't
the
had
only
one.
person in the world that likes these.
We haven't had one in a while, and I figured I'd go hard for this one.
Okay.
So, first question.
Listening.
Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
There have been a lot of comic book movies that have won Oscars over the years. Okay?
Ooh.
Which comic book movie out of these won an Oscar for visual effects? Was it A, Constantine, B, Infinity War, or C, Superman 78?
That's it. The three options.
Those are the three options.
Infinity War.
Infinity War.
Final answers.
Final answer.
The answer is C, Superman
No
78.
What's
No
Superman 78?
freaking way.
The first Superman movie
With Christopher
with
Reeve?
Christopher Reeves.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought you made some shit up. I thought it
wasn't
was like
thinking
called
like
Superman
Ford.
78.
Oh.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Hey, look at this. Whoop.
Question number 2. With Iron Man and Batman being some of the richer superheroes in our comic book lore, Iron Man sitting around 100 billion, and Batman sitting around 80 billion. That's over most of the sources.
That's still
Who
a lot of
is
shit.
the richest, with assets included, the richest comic book character?
Villains included.
Villains included.
Are you giving us options?
No, there's no options.
What? That's
Yeah.
me.
I'm gonna go with
How-
Lex Luthor.
How am I gonna guess?
'Cause you
from
know-
all of those characters.
Yeah, exactly. You think about it. Just
What?
think about all the
I threw a
assets.
guess.
He's got Lex Luthor. So there's a lot of comic book characters and a lot of them are rich. Just take a wild guess. Just guess. You don't have to guess the amount. Just
I mean, before you even guess, we can talk about a few if you
yeah,
want.
if you want to.
Think about Charles Xavier owns his own school and
He's
funds
not
the whole thing.
richest. No way.
He's
Are we
rich.
thinking just inside of like Marvel and DC, or
Yeah.
like?
For the most part, I mean,
Just
who
inside
really
of
goes
Marvel and
outside of
DC.
that, you know?
Well, actually, this person, even if we were to encompass all of them, this person would still be the richest.
And they're in Marvel or DC? Can you at least tell
Yes,
us that?
yes.
they
There
are
is
one
in-
Lex
alright,
Luthor.
alright.
He's going Lex Luthor.
Richest ever.
In comic book history, who is the richest comic book character?
Maybe like Kingpin.
You want to give you a hint? Does everybody want a hint?
I would love a hint.
It may change your answer.
Is it like a Celestial or something?
He has a solo movie.
He has a solo movie,
Has a solo.
That's the only one you're getting.
and he is the richest comic book character.
Am I overthinking this?
I don't know. I don't know what you're thinking.
Oh,
I know.
But you got 10
Black
seconds.
Panther.
10, 9,
Deadpool.
8,
Black
7,
Panther.
Deadpool.
6. You sure?
Final answer.
Final answer.
I think it's in the wording. Yes, final answer, Deadpool.
Well, you're definitely incorrect. It is not Deadpool.
Ah, dang it. What?
You, on the other hand, are correct. Assets included, Black T'Challa is worth over $90 trillion.
90 trillion.
Dang!
Yes.
Okay.
That's like, because he's the king of Wakanda, all the assets of Wakanda, including the vibranium, all assets included. Even without that, he'd be still worth $500 billion.
I did not even think about that. I thought, because I was starting to think outside of the box, and I thought you meant like in terms of who sells the most movie tickets and merchandise and stuff.
No.
I thought you meant rich in that way. I was reading between the lines.
No, because these are pop quizzes. I want to be...
I don't know. You should have given us options.
No. Last one.
Okay.
In a 2004 comic book of Deadpool, he described himself as a blank and a blank. Hold on. There is a hint. He even said it in the first movie.
Oh my god.
I told you these are going to be hard.
A gentleman and a scholar.
Here's the hint.
A psychopath and a nut job?
No, as far as his looks, what he looks like.
Oh.
He looks like a blank mixed with blank. I can even give you the hint for one of them.
Do it.
The hint is one of them is a dog, and he mentioned it in the movie. Ooh, it looks like I got bit by a radioactive blank.
Sharpay.
That's one of them.
It was a Sharpay.
That is one of them. He looked Deadpool in 2004. The comic book said he looked like a mix of blank and a Sharpay. And again, both were mentioned in the movie.
I can't remember the other one. I just can't.
Well, he didn't say it verbatim like the comic books, but he did mention this. He name dropped this.
I don't recall.
Freddy Krueger?
10
A
seconds.
raisin? I'm going to say a raisin.
8, 7,
Freddy Krueger.
6. So Freddy Krueger the raisin. The final answers?
Final answer.
Yeah.
Okay. In the 2004 comic book of Deadpool, he himself said that he looked like a mix of Ryan Reynolds and a Sharpay.
Ah.
Yep, now I remember.
Joe, come on, man.
That was a trick pop question. That's all right. That was good.
But it was absolutely accurate.
I liked it. That's what makes these fun. The challenge.
I wasn't ready for them.
And you both failed. Next
the
time,
second one right.
You
After a hand.
You got 1 out of 3. You failed. But actually, what I think I'm going to start doing, since now we're having a YouTube page and we're getting ready to do an Instagram, there may be like certain consequences to these. Nothing like crazy, something silly or goofy, just for the fans
You
to
gotta
view.
sit through an episode with a pair of funny glasses on or something silly, maybe.
Or something that we can put exclusively on our YouTube and Instagram, so that way you guys can see their losses, because it would never be me losing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one coming to the pop quiz.
I'm gonna not even inform you, but hit you with a pop quiz on there.
Hey, if you hit me with a pop quiz, that would be great.
I'm gonna hit him with a pop quiz too.
Yeah.
And Jake.
Technically, you just have to hit him with a quiz because he's pop. So it would be your pop quiz.
You got the pop. You got the pop. I'll even hit Iggy with it, and she won't even be ready for it.
Nobody will be. But either way, you both lost the pop quiz, and I have stumped you yet again.
Failed. Wah, wah. Let's get one.
Where is it? Where's it?
Yep. That is what you deserve for failing that pop quiz. So moving on to the fun stuff.
Surprise, motherfucker.
That was a surprise. Timed not right.
It was not. It was not. Now, before the pop quiz, we were talking about cartoons.
Right.
In some of these 90s and earlier cartoons. I want to know, I think you asked this, how they influenced how we are as creatives and what cartoons really kind of influenced us as far as our creative minds go.
I can definitely speak on that.
Please do.
As a cartoonist myself, I can tell you the ones I gained a lot of influence from. With my style, the way it is, as I watched cartoons all my life, and I've always been a huge fan, certain ones stood out to me as being the most logical way of drawing certain things in my style. So the ones that stood out to me and really influenced how I draw today were your classic Warner Brothers and Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny, Porky Pig, all those. The more modern Tiny Toon Adventures and things like that was and Animaniacs, very influential to my style. And then turning more toward my later years, Dragon Ball Z was a huge influence on my style, with the way I shade and the way I do certain details in my artwork. So there's been other ones as well throughout the course of my life that have really influenced, but those are the big ones that stand out because of what they are.
That makes sense. As far as like me go, I'm not an artist. I don't really draw, but as far as comedic timing, I feel like a lot of cartoons have like kind of molded me as far as my comedic timing, and the ones that I really resonate in are like there's some of the older ones like Rugrats. Not Rugrats, Rocco's Modern Life. Even some Hey Arnold, and Ren and Stimpy, Cow and a lot of the older ones, even some of the new ones like Family Guy and American Dad, they've really helped me hone in the comedic timing, because with cartoons you have no limits to do with whatever. You can do whatever you want. So, and I feel like that's a lot with comedy. You can really do whatever you want. And it also takes some of the things that really shouldn't be talked about as far as comedy, and they made it comical. So I feel like a lot of that has kind of really molded how I am and how I deliver some of my lines, and how some of the live action writings that I've done. You can see that a lot of it has come from some of these cartoons, especially anything Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah,
like anything Seth MacFarlane.
I agree with that.
I think he's the GOAT.
Me too. Fully agreed. Big fan.
What about you?
Well, sort of like you said, I did learn a lot about comedy through those same sorts of shows, Bob's Burgers, stuff like that.
Yes.
But the majority of my influence from any cartoons comes from anime, like Dragon Ball and Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia, older shows too. Like
Definitely noticed that in some of your art.
So the anime really pops, and that's what I like to take away into my art. But in terms of like my personality and like you said, like joking and stuff like that, I take a lot from Seth MacFarlane and Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
You see, Trey Parker and Matt Stone have a different type of cartoon.
It's
not even really a cartoon, because it started off with actual paper.
Yeah.
Like they actually had to cut out that shit on construction paper, and they had to move that shit around until obviously the computers came around, where it made life so much easier. But I still can classify it as a cartoon. But still, I didn't even think about that as far as like some of the jokes and the comedic timing, because I think as far as timing, they got that down to like a millisecond.
Yeah.
Because they can definitely take any situation and make it like real situations like today, stuff that we're dealing with, and somehow make it funny. It's like we're dealing with this still, like the pandemic episode. I still haven't seen it, but I heard that that's like one of the best episodes. Like it's hilarious. And it's taking something that really shouldn't be laughed at, especially situations that we're currently in. Like I would love to see how South Park spins what's going on in Ukraine. I'd love to see that. Even though it's a tragedy, they still have a way of making things like bringing it to light. It's like, this shit's happening, but still making fun of the situations around it. Not as opposed to like
very artistic.
Very artistic.
Whoa, you said autistic.
Artistic. I stuttered. I did not mean to say autistic. I swear. I promise. Speech impediment. Like it literally just. Shut up. It seriously was not intentional. But either way, speaking of artistic.
Speaking of artistic.
God damn it.
Moving on.
Moving on.
There are, we talked about how a lot of cartoons had some, especially Nickelodeons, they had to rehash some old material, and how Cartoon Network is reinventing, has like a lot of newer stuff. based off the comparison between like the newer stuff and the older stuff, do we think cartoons are getting better or worse?
Well, that's easy for me to speak on. I've been around the longest, so I've seen the most transition. Hands down, undoubtedly, no questions asked, by far getting worse.
Wow.
Really?
I mean, think about it. You look all the way back to like the 40s and 50s when we started getting like Popeye and the Warner Brothers cartoons and all that amazing animation.
Yeah.
Even, Mickey Mouse and Disney doing their thing. And we get all that amazing top shelf, timeless animation that is so beautifully, flawlessly done. And then you move into
Very
cartoons
over the top,
now.
too.
Yeah, exactly. But you get into cartoons now, the art style's definitely getting better. Like with anime, it's unbelievable what they're doing with anime. That's like actual movies. You're watching movies.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So the art styles are getting better. Some of the animation's getting better. But the stories aren't what they used to be. Like, it was so simple back then when you had Popeye. He needed spinach to beat up Bluto because he was always trying to rape Olive Oil. That was the simple premise of Popeye.
It was. It is.
And that's what every episode consisted of. And the art of it sold it as it was. Every episode was the same idea in a different scenario, and people ate it up because the simplicity sold. Nowadays, it's so complex. The bar of stimulus is set so high, and people need so much just to be entertained that these cartoons have to be wacky and off the wall and crazy and just ridiculous, and some of them make no sense, and it's too much. I love the simplicity of the olden days of cartoons, so it's declining for me.
Well, you go ahead because you're on a complete opposite spectrum. I'm kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Well, I kind of got to break it up into adult cartoons and children cartoons. Children cartoons are getting worse.
Yeah.
But adult
Most definitely.
cartoons are getting better. Like, Family Guy, all that stuff. Like, I love where they're going with that. I love seeing more of that, and I love seeing shows like that last 32 seasons, like The Simpsons. But children's cartoons, they're just mind-numbing. Like,
That's kind of where I was at.
harder and
Yeah.
harder to watch. So I'm with you on that. But like, adult cartoons are better these days.
I absolutely agree.
F is for Family, Paradise PD, things like that. Yeah, I will agree with you on that. The adult cartoons are pretty good.
So I would have to say yes and no as well. I think I'm with the same area as you guys are because, but then again, we're not watching the kids' cartoons that we were back in the day. I mean, granted, we might still go back and watch the ones that we grew up watching. We're not going to go back and try to watch whatever is on nowadays. Like, I honestly don't even know which one Cartoon
Casa
Network.
Grandes.
Yeah, stuff like that. Lenny, with the kid Lenny or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, but I am watching more of the adult-oriented cartoons like The Simpsons and Family Guy and stuff like that because those are getting better, and I feel like those are getting better but the people who made the younger cartoons grew up too. So a lot of it may have transitioned to that because we grew up in a time age where a lot of those older cartoons had a lot more subliminal messaging in it.
This is true.
Rocko's Modern Life, for God's sakes. Ren and Stimpy, Spongebob. A lot of them had a lot of really subliminal, adult-oriented content in there that kids were just like, oh, they're holding hands. Like, there's nothing really funny about it to a kid, but to adult, for some reason, it's hilarious. So us as adults now, we look at these newer shows, which now happen to be on streaming networks, because a lot of these adult shows would not go on Fox or any of those cartoons. Family Guy and Simpsons was the worst. Like, that's about as bad as it can get. We would never have seen
like Paradise PD on there.
Or
like
Big
that.
Mouth.
Oh, Big Mouth. Oh, definitely not Big Mouth.
Those cartoons would not have existed. Which is why I go back to my answer saying that yes and no. Cartoons as a whole is getting better because, granted, there's more content and it's more accessible. So therefore, if you don't like SpongeBob but you like Paradise PD or vice versa, you have access to watch any cartoon that you want. So cartoons in general, I feel got better, but like the kid ones,
kid cartoons.
the kid cartoons
Yeah.
are now dumb because they are literally all kid. There's not very many. Hey, Uncle, I like Uncle Grandpa.
I hate Uncle Grandpa.
I like Uncle
And I
Grandpa.
can't stand Clarence.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I hate Clarence too.
Clarence, okay, we could do without Clarence.
And
But-
Steven the Universe, we can get rid of them too.
I like
Steven
Uncle
Universe was
Grandpa.
okay. Some of the music in that is pretty dope.
The music is cool, but the show, no. I don't even get it. He's got like a star, and he's got friends that are superpowered.
They're the crystal gems. There's not many people with gems inside their body, and these special gems give them special powers, so they fight off monsters for the city that doesn't have any gem powers.
I know someone who has a gem in their head and they're real. Lil Uzi Vert.
Oh yeah, he's a crystal gem.
And Vision.
Vision's a crystal gem too.
Yeah, he does, and there's an Iggy.
Her wanted to be on your sandwich.
Yeah, her did. Her a good girl-ish. Her my baby. But yeah, I'd have to say, overall, cartoons overall are better. Only because,
Fair statements.
we can now see the stuff that we could never see back in the day unless it came out on movie. Or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, that is it for the Nerd Word podcast.
That's the
for
time?
today.
That went fast. I was having fun.
Time always flies when you're having fun, and it has been fun. It has been a fun day, and just so you guys know, there are some great things coming up from
Big
us.
things coming.
We'll be able to tell you guys soon, not just yet. But it's coming, and you guys will love it as much as we love it.
You're gonna love it, man.
So, final thoughts, Guy Man.
Final thoughts. Speaking about cartoons, Big Mouth is getting its own spin-off show.
Already?
Yes, and it's called Human Resources. It's about, the establishment where Maurice works, these monsters that get put on these kids. It's about that place.
Oh, okay.
And it's season 1 is coming soon.
That's gonna be
Just
interesting.
found that out today.
All right.
That'll be cool. Fireball.
As a matter of fact, for my closing thought, I have something else I wanted to throw out there too, like that. For those who don't know, Bob's Burgers is getting a feature-length movie in theaters.
Yeah.
Bob is going to have a big screen debut, so
That's awesome.
if you're a Bob's Burgers fan, let's get it.
Let's go see that.
Let's give Bob a
What are we getting? Is that what we're giving him?
but Bob's getting a feature on the big screen, so if you're a fan,
That's
make
pretty
sure
cool.
to check that out.
I'm gonna probably watch
So,
that. You want to go see that?
Let's go see Bob's
Yeah,
Burgers.
Would
think
that
I'm
be
gonna-
an IMAX?
It was advertised in IMAX.
I don't see why not.
I want to see
We'll find
Bob's
out.
Burgers in IMAX, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna go have to see it.
So
And
that's it for me.
And my final words are Swedish fish are disgusting. Good night.